So this learning network is the conference that we're having now is just a moment in the whole process of learning that the region is engaged in. When we started 3 years ago in Haiti, one of the questions that everyone was asking about was, what kind of impact are we having around women leadership and gender equality and gender justice? And we started the first annual cycle of research and development that was focused on that theme. And what we found in that, the most interesting thing that we found in that is that we weren't actually having any impact at all in our work with producer organizations. And the principal approach that was being used in that historically within the organization was to just count the number of women that were participating in workshops and assume that somehow that leads to an impact. Well, it actually doesn't. And we've got some of that evidence in the publication, the Gender Justice Conceptual Framework, which is at the back, which tries to capture different dimensions of impact. Economic being one, kind of the relational, political relational dimension being another, and then the social, cultural, structural one being a third dimension. And we looked at the economic one being the logical point of entry for us. And so we set up in the second year what we call the Gender Justice Resource Center, which Norman has been leading now for a good few years. I don't think he's in the room, but I think you all know Norman by now, or you've heard from him. And we've been doing pilots around women's economic leadership with several countries, and we're going to see quite a few people will actually see some of the work that's been done in Colombia around women's economic leadership. And then there's a publication at the back entitled Women's Economic Leadership, which captures a lot of the learning that we've had from that second year. And now we're looking at how we can try and start to scale that up and mainstream some of the methodologies and the learning that we've had from that. So really quickly in conclusion, I think counting women doesn't necessarily lead to impact. The women's economic leadership is primarily about decision-making responsibilities, having influence at a social and cultural level, having respect, and managing personal risk. I think it's quite an important one that I'm sure the Colombia team will be picking up on tomorrow.